So, went out to the Jetta to go out to the store and noticed a little bit of a puddle from underneath. Go down underneath here. Nice little puddle. The return fuel line is leaking. Pretty darn good. Yeah, there's the drips. And we're just dumping fuel in the street. So, my buddy Tyler is heading over here in a little while in his M3. Gonna pick me up, give me a ride to the auto parts store to grab some line and some clamps. Wheezy is super stoked. What is it, Wheezy? What, you wanna come out? You wanna come outside? Come on. All right, Wheezy, I'll see you in a little bit. Woo.
M-Town taxi service.
What's up? So pretty. So, this is the culprit. That little nick right before that cut is where it failed. I'm guessing a rock just came up and grabbed it on the road, put a little nick in it. We cut the line, replaced it with a small section of hose with the right clamps, and we're back in business. So today I'm heading back across to the Eastern Shore. So here we go, 2 hours on the road. Back in the garage and got some parts for the 4-door from FCP Euro. Got a clutch cable, cable ends, shifter bushings, seal I may do on the trans, some gear oil that I may or may not use, and a new trans mount. So, gotta put the broken rotor valve back in so we can move this car after I get my dad to help me bolt the open air unit back into the car so that it doesn't leak if we get a little bit of rain tonight. So next on the list is the Jetta. It's really hot and really humid, so I'm just not gonna do the clutch. I don't trust myself to do it right now. So I'm gonna take it to my friends at Redline Motorworks in Owings Mills, Maryland, and they're gonna get it right for me. So right now, I'm just tidying up the engine bay a little bit, and I'm gonna swap on the bumper that I heat gunned the other day. So my phone was dead earlier, and I wanted to go and get to work. So I did about half of the top of the bumper, nice and black. But this is how it was when I picked it up. It's all ashy and some scrapes and stuff, but all that seems to kind of disappear for the most part once you heat gun it. And a lot of people do say that heat gunning these bumpers makes them brittle because what it's doing is it's pulling the oils out, but this bumper is quite malleable. I really feel like it's not going to get brittle even once it's heated up. It's still nice and flexible, and it's going to look 10 times better than the bumper on the car. So there you go, this is how I do it. bumper for the 4-door is all heat gunned up. Gonna give it another pass either later tonight or in the morning. Gonna kind of let it settle and do its thing, but looking 100 times better than what it was before. The rear bumper, we just got a 17 down here and a 17 right here on both sides, and then the whole bumper should slide right off. So there were also 2 additional 17s. You have to get in the trunk under the corner. And it's hard to see in the light, but there's a hole right there. And same thing on this side. With the old bumper removed, now we can see what we're working with. So originally, there's all these little square pieces that snap into the rebar. But over the years, bumpers getting taken on and off, they get chewed up. So we got a couple screws to hold it in place extra. So let's get this cover off and get the new one on. With the old bumper skin off, I took the remainder of that metallic Rust-Oleum black that we used on the coupe roof and just kind of gave the hose down to kind of cover up the rust, maybe stop it from rusting. I didn't have rust encapsulator paint in the garage, so just giving it a coat to slow down the surface rust. Let that dry for a minute and slam the new one on. Got the new to me heat gunned bumper skin on the original rebar, and it's time to slam it back in the car. New bumper skin is on. It's all aligned properly. It's dirty, but it's on. And it has the correct texture. Was able to clean quite a lot of acorns out of here. So the next step is gonna clean all this and hit it with some spray wax to protect it. Also vacuumed out down that chassis leg, and my dad put a new nut on there because the wing nut was coming apart. So making some progress. This was totally full of acorns, so it's a good thing I checked it. Gonna honestly just knock this filter out. It's just got some junk in it. It's not really that dirty. Got the bottom of the air box degreased, sprayed out with the hose. Gonna let that dry for a minute. Just gonna clean this off just a little bit, but this whole piece is nice and clean, just a little dusty. Filter's knocked out, and I got this looking pretty darn clean. I just wanted to get most of it out just to prevent any future rust or anything, but looking good. Time to slam it all back together. The coupe is tucked away in the garage where it won't get wet until my buddy Ryan can come check it out and see what we can do about fixing this roof. I am waiting at Starbucks right now for my buddy Tyler to meet up with me to follow me down to Redline Motorworks in Owings Mills, Maryland to drop off my Jetta to get a clutch done so that I'm ready to go hopefully next week to start heading back to Los Angeles. So should be a nice little cruise. Tyler is on his way with his E46 M3. Should be a nice little cruise. This clutch is on its last legs and it's making all sorts of chattering noises and everything, so it's gonna be good to have it replaced and give me a good bit of confidence going into the trip after blowing up the BMW. So we're here at Redline Motorworks with Tyler. Followed me out in the E46, which is over there somewhere, but great shop, hell of a lineup out front. Give you a quick peek in the shop and then we're heading out. just got back with the car from Redline Motorworks. Got the clutch done, got the flywheel done, got an axle put in, and it drives so much better now. I'm so happy that I took it to them. If anybody in the Maryland area or beyond needs some very good work on their Volkswagen or Audi done, anything from maintenance to 1,000 horsepower VRs, hit up Redline Motorworks. Their Instagram is Redline Motorworks 1. It's right here. Now we're gonna be going down to Richmond tomorrow to meet up with my buddy Gary to pick up a set of teardrops for this car for the trip. And then we're heading back to the Eastern Shore to do an oil change, put those new wheels and tires on, and button up a few little things here and there. Cut to me at my dad's house again, and working on painting up these teardrops I picked up. Time to prime. So there's a raw one. And that's one coat. This Rust-Oleum metallic silver. Hit it with a few more coats. We good. Stuff's pretty nice. And I love these handles. Make it so much easier to be consistent with the spray can. I'm just gonna be lazy and I'm not painting the teardrops black because I kinda like how it looks. So, got some paint stripper on that, doing its work. Trying to get the last of the powder coat off. Gonna scuff this one up and then prime it and get it painted. Wheels turned out great. Ended up finishing them with Rust-Oleum, I think it was crystal clear glass clear coat, something like that. But it turned out pretty darn nice. And I'm just gonna let them bake in the sun for a little while. And tires should be here early next week. Sick. So I figured before I put this in, I'd give my boy Gary a shout out. Printed me off this little adapter off Thingiverse to go into the front of my airbox to have it made up better with the headlight air duct. Usually there's a smaller diameter kind of trumpet style piece in there that goes into the airbox, but more air is better. So let's see if we can get this headlight backing piece to fit back in here. So my Ohatsu tires came a day early for like $41 or $42 a tire. Pretty decent looking tires. My dad helped me mount them up with his old tire spoon, and we balanced them on his old school bubble balancer. And I gotta go buy some lugs, but these are gonna look great. Need some lug bolts. Went across the street to the junkyard. When you're the neighbor, you get access to walk around the non-you-pull-it junkyard. And there's a Fox 2-door. Actually, yep, there's the Fox and there's the Mark III, so I'm gonna grab me some lug bolts. Okay, so have not been filming much because I have been working in the rain and at night and just running into all sorts of little snags, but finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So this is what I've been doing. So I took my skid plate off and looked up at the oil pan and saw that it was pretty fucking mangled. So ordered up a new pan through AutoZone for $17.99, and they overnighted it from California. Got that and a new gasket on there. Just had to trim, I believe it was this edge of the oil pan a little bit on the new one. But it was a good thing that I did take it apart because some stuff had been hitting there, and part of the baffle that goes around the pickup tube was broken, and there were all sorts of little pieces of plastic in the pan. everything seemed to be in good shape. Put it back together with the new pan. Gonna be filling it up with Royal Purple 2050. Using the API 2050 because my car does still have a cat, so don't have too much zinc. And got the Ohatsus mounted up on the snowflakes. Went with a 185/60/14 on these. I lowered the car down, realized that the valve stems were bad. Probably should have replaced those regardless, but my dad is out picking up some valve stems for me right now. In the meantime, I'm raising the car up a bit. Got the H&R ultra lows on here. Don't want to be too ultra low for the trip, so I raised it up about a ½ inch or so in the rear, and I'm gonna try to raise it up about a ½ inch to an inch in the front. So go ahead and get to that, and then get the valve stems changed, torque the wheels up, put the center caps on, and head back over to Western Maryland. After getting the oil pan on the car and putting the skid plate back on, checking the alignment, I left my dad's house, and apparently I had loosened my coolant cap. So I stopped to get gas, and coolant was going everywhere. Tightened the cap down. That was good. Got some distilled water in it. Went to go see a friend last night, and was driving home, and all of a sudden I had complete play side to side in my shifter. That little arm is responsible for the side to side motion, and where the zip tie is, the clip for the ball socket has snapped. In the dark, in the rain, on the side of the road, I threw one zip tie on it, and it got me home. Now my dilemma is, I need to find another one of these before I can head to California. After this clip broke off my 5th gear selector, I went to New German Performance and picked up a new one of those and a new long arm as well. While I was in there, I went ahead and replaced a couple bushings here and there. And since I don't have the factory alignment tool, should have been filming this from the get-go, but a little tip for people with Mark 2s and Mark 3s, 4 cylinders: take a tape, put the fat part of the tape cassette against your reverse lockout and against that tab. Then, what I did, since I didn't have anybody here, was I used zip ties and held the shifter over against the tape. Before you do that though, there's two 13 millimeters right down there. You undo that so it's loose and can move side to side. Then you do the tape procedure, holding it in place. While that's held in place, you come back here and tighten that nut and bolt back down. And then you magically have all your gears again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good as new, ready to go to California, and I'm going to replace the whole shifter setup eventually with the USRT Smart Shift. Alrighty, so it is Wednesday. It is a beautiful day out, and I am putting spark plugs in the 8 valve just to pep it up before the trip. Digi 2 cars were designed to run on a silver electrode Bosch spark plug. Couldn't find any at the local shops, so went up to York Volkswagen, and they were able to get me new old stock OEM plugs with silver electrode, pre-gapped, ready to rock and roll. So I already cracked these ones loose, pulled them out, swap these in, and we'll see if it made a difference. So we got the old plugs out, and these things were disgusting. So, glad to get some fresh ones in there. Got everything wired back up, nice and tidy. Clean up my trash and take it on a little test drive. Bam. The LLV. Ripping it. One step closer to getting on the road. So I just took the Jetta out for a drive, and wow, what a difference. If you own a Digi 2 8-valve Mark II, you need to be running the OEM silver electrode plugs. The throttle response is way tighter, it's got more torque, more power, idles smoother, cruises smoother. It has completely changed the way this car drives, and I'm even more excited to put 3,000 miles on this thing across the country tomorrow. Kurt should be back this evening. We're gonna plan our first stop and hit the road first thing in the morning.